On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
If you want this specific type of man, I'm not talking. He's not saying if you just want any man or if you just want a regular guy.
I get that.
Plant. Yeah. If you want this level type of man, this is what they're saying they want, and so this is the criteria that you have to meet. It's not an if and or. Like if you want to rock, then you do this. If you don't, then go ahead and live your life. He's not stopping you. He ain't making people call. He just letting them know exactly what it is that they need to do if this is what they're looking for.
I feel like we beat the dead horse. I just don't know what else we could say about it.
She really should like, because you can't train yourself to be different, bro. You don't have to be emotional over this stuff. Like, you can be like objectively reasonable, and you should not let your emotions take control of you, man. Because that's generally like
who you talking to?
You. That's what females.
Like,
who's emotional?
Look at you.
That's how I talk.
I feel like people just can't. We just giving an opinion. You know, it's just a show. Like,
I mean, like, bro, like if you.
I think people really feel like you're really upset. Like, I don't.
Hey, next to Tawana.
It's so.
Hey, I got somebody that called in.
Okay, perfect.
So, like I said, there's always people who will lead with their wallet, men and women, and there's always, there's always a risk of getting a bunch of disingenuous people around you. People who want to use you, people who want to be around you because of what you have. And a lot of what Kevin peddles to me is he's telling women, ditch all your goals, ditch everything that you ever set out to be, and you be this person that this type of man wants. This perfect woman for the high value man, or whether you want to chase your goals and dreams and, be this independent, quote unquote, woman. And at the end of the day, you do not have to choose. You don't have to choose. And regardless of whether you listen to 3 hours of his show or 5 minutes of his show, he constantly says it over and over. Oh, you're this old, you're 30 years old, and you haven't got a man, or the relationships you were in are, you messed that up. You were being selfish. You shouldn't have been worrying about your career in school. You should have been trying to be what that man wanted you to be. You fumbled your life, and now you're lonely and you're in the danger zone. So it's like, is this what men are going to tell their daughters moving forward? Like, oh, honey, you got to get a man early. You know what I'm saying? You got to get them locked down while you're in college. You need to be focused on what a man wants. At the end of the day, it is safe to be who you want to be and also be who that man wants. It's not a choice. It's not a choice.
That's not
that
true.
You have to make.
That's cap.
Thank you, Janelle.
100%.
How so?
It's cap because.
So you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
No. Go ahead.
It's cap because you ignoring that the overwhelming majority of these women that's calling into this show is single, and they are in a space to where they don't have love, and they are in a space to where they've done these things that's not working for them. If they were already successful at this thing in which they've been able to do both, then they wouldn't be calling into the show in the first place. So you gotta understand that he's not speaking to everybody. He's speaking specifically.
But they weren't trying to do both. They weren't trying to do both. They made a choice. They made a choice.
Into the show
is
not. They are not successful in their dating life. Is my point. And he's trying to help them to understand, if you want this specific type of man, I'm not talking. He's not saying if you just want any man or if you just want a regular guy.
I get that.
Plant. Yeah. If you want this level type of man, this is what they're saying they want, and so this is the criteria that you have to meet. It's not an if and or. Like, if you want to rock, then you do this. If you don't, then go ahead and live your life. He's not stopping you. He ain't making people call. He just letting them know exactly what it is that they need to do if this is what they're looking for.
Hey, Anton, I had a question for you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, guest.
No, I was just saying nothing is absolute.
Right.
Nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute.
That's my problem with
Number
it.
two, Number two,
Yeah.
also, Anton, as you said, if these women have, they may have gotten it wrong in what their goal is. They may have taken the wrong path in what their goal is. That may be true, but at the end of the day, it's too many quote unquote regular guys repeating this. Kevin Samuels verbatim saying what women ain't doing and all of this mess. It's regular guys who aren't in that 10%, 1%. They are regurgitating this. So
he got smoke for them
where's
too.
the line drawn?
He got smoke
Where's
when they call in and say, "Yo, this is what I am." He questioned him too. He grilled him too. So the standards is both. It's the same on both sides. It's just that women are overwhelmingly the ones that's having a conversation afterwards. That's saying they heard about what it is that he's saying. It ain't the guy.
I got a question for you, Anton, and I know
that's interesting.
Like we were talking about like winners and losers, right? Or I feel like sometimes the phrase is like the word is about have and have nots, right? So with these women that call in and they're seeking this high value man, which is what top 10% people that's making 100K. I'm sorry, like what 6 figures or above. We still haven't defined whether it's 100K or 900K, but nonetheless. So if there's a woman that's 35 years of age, has 2 kids or something like that, but they're dating somebody that is not making 6 figures, did they lose? Since we say that this is something that a woman should aspire to get to date a high value man. So if they're dating someone, let's say they are dating someone, but they're dating someone right now that does not make 6 figures, did they lose in life?
No, they didn't lose in life, but they lost. If they're seeking a specific type of guy that he's labeling, and they say, this is what I want, and I'm not settling for less, and they don't get it, anything that you don't get that's your goal is a loss, is my point. And so he caters to a specific demographic. And if this is what you want, then don't complain when I tell you the criteria. We go on these jobs. Did you lose if you don't become an astrophysicist and you didn't meet the criteria? Like, you didn't lose in life, but you lost at that specific opportunity because you didn't meet the expectations. So in everything in life, there's an expectation. If you want this car, you got to pay $100,000. If you want this specific job, then you got to get the degree. You got to do this. Nobody can just say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," and that's the end of the conversation. But then when it comes to
you got to put in the work.
Our love interest, when somebody else can have preferences, also we say, "Oh no, that's not acceptable. Let's all validate each other," and that is not how life works.
Well, can we get to look? So I want to dig a little bit deeper on this.
Hey, next when you get finished, I got a caller too.
Okay, I want to dig in just a little bit more before we move on. Where it's like, let's say, so we have these group of people, right? You have this high value man that makes, 6 figures or higher. Then you have this woman that is seeking someone that's 6 figures or higher.
Slightly though, because a high value man is not just the guy that makes 6 figures. There's character that goes along with it. There's a lot of other things that go with it.
But that's part of the criteria, though, that even if you have character,
no,
you don't have.
I just want to correct it for the viewer because they think it's all money and it's not money. So it's not just money.
But that's part of the criteria, though, right? So you still can be deemed as high value, even if you have character. But if you don't make the money, then you're not considered high value, then, right?
That's correct.
So why is it that, for these women that are calling in, why is it? Because this is the part that I think I struggle with that's not even about Kevin Samuels. Why is it that we have women that this is part of their criteria that they feel that they need to find someone that not just have character, but they have to make specifically 6 figures or higher? That's the part that is a very unique criteria, but the why, that's the part that I still struggle with.
That's a conversation. That's a completely different conversation. But
those are people that's calling in, though, right? They want somebody that has 6 figures but high character. But why is there a need?
But see, again, that's what we should be asking them, not Kevin Samuels. You should ask the women why they feel the way they feel and why they.
Well, yeah, that's my question. Which I'm sorry, I'm not directing it specifically to you, but I'm opening it up maybe to you and Tawana, where it's like, well, why is that a thing? Because that's the part where
they explain why they usually
so
explain why. one woman, she herself was making 6 figures, and so I guess she felt like the man she was with should match her, or at least more. And then there was some instances where women just felt like that's the lifestyle that they want to live, and they want a man to be able to sustain their lifestyle. It was so many different reasons why women felt like they needed a man who was at least making 6 figures, and they thought that was like the bare minimum. Like they didn't think that was like.
Okay. All right, we can move on, Jay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know you got a guest, so we could table it.
All right, go ahead, caller. Who's this calling in?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So the way I see Kevin Samuels, honestly, is he is saying for guys, hey, listen, if you want to get the best caliber of women you can get for yourself, this is what you have to do, because this is what women want. So get this stat in your life to the highest possible stat it can be, and from that point you can pick from the best woman you want. And for women, he's saying, okay, if you want the best kind of man you can get, this is what you have to do. It's not even about getting the highest quality, the high value man. It's about getting the best kind of man you can get for yourself. What he's really saying is, like, get the best thing you can for yourself. And to do that, you're going to have to work on yourself. And a lot of people nowadays just kind of want to show up and say, hey, take me as I am. And that's why a lot of people have issues with, at least the way I see it, that's why a lot of people have issues with what he's saying, because a lot of people just think you show up and you should just get an award for showing up. But that's not how it is. I mean, I enjoy his content because it tells me, like, all right, there's still a lot of growing I need to do in my life. That's how I see it. That's how I see his content, because I'm like, okay, I have a lot more room to grow. And especially like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want you to finish your point so I can respond to that. Go ahead.
Well, it's me personally, like being a plumber, trying to get into real estate, purchasing houses right now. It really helps me to guide my life in a proper direction, listening to exactly what he's saying. As well as it's not even just about getting money. It's also about bringing yourself to the best possible self you can be, whether that comes from clothing, whether that comes from increasing your network. Like it's a giant broad field that he helps people out with. For some reason, a lot of people want to focus on, how he's delivering his message, and it's not like there's so much more value behind how he's delivering. So, continue.
Appreciate you, man. I think you spoke beautifully. I think you elaborated your point very, very beautifully.
Thank you.
All right, Tawana, you wanted to respond?
Yeah, I don't disagree with him for those reasons that you presented. And I don't validate him for the very thing that you are saying is the reason why he has a platform. And that is because he tells you what he thinks is the best thing for you. Like, if you want this type of person, that's the best thing you can get. He puts people in this hierarchy, and it's a superficial way to judge people. And that is primarily why I have an issue with the content. No, I don't think that it's anything wrong with being realistic in your dating expectations and someone being truthful with you about your expectations. I am the first person to want people to be honest with me. What I have a problem with is not the delivery, but also with the message that he gives people. And just actually everything that you said. That message to me can be problematic, especially when you're judging people based on whatever these values that you value, or his values, which everybody has different values, and we shouldn't all have to and I don't think he's saying or forcing anyone to think a certain way. But what I'm saying is he's pushing certain values on people and on a group of people, and saying that this is what people in this salary range, this is what they think. Everybody has these values, and so this is how you should be. I don't agree with that message. But of course, he has something to say. Everybody has a person that they value and they follow. But for me, the person who tells me something and who gives me advice, that their life needs to reflect their advice that they're giving me. That their life needs to be a product of everything that they're saying to me. And that's my opinion. My post, let me clarify this too. My post was about my experience watching his show. It wasn't about specific individuals in the group. It wasn't about comments that the people made in the group. My post was, okay, I've watched several of his episodes and heard these women who call into his show. The women to me sound like women who are miserable in their life, period. Like they're just miserable. Or they were single and having trouble dating, which we have said both of those things were true, that the people were single. The women who call his show are single. I didn't say that they were both. I didn't say because she's single, she's miserable. No. There was one woman who called in and I absolutely felt like she was the saddest, like most depressed person I saw. So when I made my comment, I was like, who calls his show that is happy? That is like a woman who has a life that I want to live, a woman who represents women that I value and that I look up to. I don't see those type of women calling the show. That's what I'm saying. That was my whole purpose in the post. And when people responded, I was asking, okay, tell me somebody somebody that we would respect as a woman, right? Like if Michelle Obama was in our group, right? If we respect her, tell me, Michelle, how do you truly feel? Like, do you listen to this man and value what his words based on the things that he's saying? And I'm just saying that if there's no woman that I value that's a fan of his show, then I just don't really see why women are connecting to it. So I guess I was trying to get clarity, and men helped me see a different side of it. Actually, a couple men, showed me a different side of it because I was like, okay, I think JR, you liked my comment because I was like, okay, you guys helped me see a whole nother side. Like I didn't even think about it in that way, right? And I still
what
stand by that.
Don't mind me asking.
Oh, let me think about that. JR, do you remember exactly what their side was? Because I feel like one guy told me, hey, he's talking to these women who feel like they want a man who's high value. They have all these expectations for men, right? But yet they themselves, have all these issues and things that they need to work on. And so he's pretty much basically telling them like, these are things that you really need to work on and that things that you should be working on if this is the type of man you want. However, this is not really a realistic goal for you. I'm just telling you that you have a long way to go if that's what you want. So the guy was kind of explaining to me, Kevin Samuel's position on that, and not that he was discrediting every woman or feeling like women can't find love, but just seeing it from that perspective. And so I understood that, I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't see it from that perspective at first, obviously, because we always see the criticisms that Kevin Samuels, that's what people highlight. And I didn't see it from that. And I don't remember the second point, but the second point was really good too. And I don't know, JR, if you remember it, but it was a really good second point that
after all that, you still don't with his message.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
You're coming in kind of choppy.
Yeah.
It's your last point. We got to move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I mean, I guess my last thing I'll say is to Anton. I didn't see the time with the two watches, so if you could put on the bigger one, so I could see the time a little bit better.
What?
I don't care.
Not set. There you go.
What happened to B Nick?
Yo.
Check the messages.
Oh,
Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you for calling in.
All right, thanks. Bye.
sorry, I missed that.